We kind of predicted this, Malicia. There is a
Mhm.
low tolerance right now for any racial inequality or discrimination in the workplace. And Hollywood is acting swiftly. Some might say not fast enough, though. In the case of Vanderpump Rules stars Stassi Schroeder and Kristen Dout have been fired from the Bravo reality series for their past racist behavior. I mean, this is a bit of a shocker for some people, especially considering that the incident in question happened in 2018.
Mhm.
Let's give them a little bit of background on what happened. So there was a article that police were looking for a Black woman who had allegedly been robbing people, and apparently Stassi and Kristen actually reached out to authorities and said it was their former co-star Faith Stowers. It was not Faith. And again, this happened in 2018, but obviously this came back to light given everything that's been going on in the country and the Black Lives Matter movement. And so Bravo decided to fire them. Your thoughts, Mel?
I mean, we caught this, as you said, we're seeing what happened when it comes to the Me Too movement happening right now when it comes to the Black Lives Matter movement. People have no room for any of this nonsense. You mentioned Stassi. I want to talk a little bit about this. Faith actually learned about Stassi and Kristen doing this out of their own words. Stassi announced on a podcast in 2018 that she did call the police on Faith. And Kristen announced on Twitter, she actually had a link to the Daily Mail article that had the Black woman who was allegedly robbing people. She said, "Hey, Tweeties, doesn't this ex-Pump Rules thief look familiar? Someone put her on MTV and gave her a platform for press. I didn't want to go there, but I'm going there." So this is them accusing Faith of robbing, essentially, and putting her life on the line. I want to talk about their apologies, though. Stassi got online and apologized. She had a really genuine apology. I feel as if she did, but she also said that her emotions about something that happened between our friends outweighed her logic. And what I took that as is something went down between Faith and Stassi and Kristen, and they decided, right, in their friend group, and they decided to weaponize race and see a Black woman who was accused of robbing and basically call Faith out and say, "Oh, this is her that was doing it," and approach the authorities about it, right? So we've seen this happen before, where we talked about it before too, white women tears, where we've seen it when it comes to the Central Park incident, where you had the lady walking her dog and called the police on an African-American bird watcher and basically said, "I have an African-American man, you
Who's
know."
telling me to put my dog on a leash.
Exactly. So this is just another instance of people really not understanding the magnitude of that and thinking that they can just pull that weapon out and smack a Black person on the face with it. It's not cool. Kristen apologized as well. She said that her actions, quote, "were not racially driven. Her privilege blinded her from the reality of law enforcement's treatment of the Black community." Now, we've talked about on here as well how we need to give people room to grow. To learn. To learn and to develop. But in some instances, especially in Kristen's case, she says her move was not racially driven, and it obviously was. You get what I'm saying? You're accusing this woman of robbing because another Black woman did, and you think that you can call the cops and that's okay?
And because you have some personal beef with her that has nothing to do with crime.
That's whether you realize it or not, your white privilege is blinding you from the fact that it is racially driven.
Absolutely.
So,
And I think it says a lot that the network, took action because arguably Stassi is one of the biggest breakout stars from that show. So I think it does send a clear message. And it's something that Andy Cohen also supported. He made it clear on his Sirius XM radio show that he's actually not a producer on the show. He's not really affiliated. He doesn't have a say in who is fired or not, but he supported Bravo's decision. Now, the argument is, why did it take so long? Like, this is something that should have been addressed when it happened in 2018. And it's something that other Bravo stars are speaking out on. Real Housewives of Atlanta star Nene Leakes, she responded to the firing. She commended Bravo, but she said, quote, "Well, alrighty then." Now, we have a few more questions to ask about in other areas where there's a major difference. Should we talk privately or publicly.
Wow.
And obviously, you know, in the wake of this national outcry and this civic unrest, you know, brands and networks and a lot of institutions have a lower tolerance. It should have been like that from the beginning, but they're taking action. And so I think there's a lot of stars, especially on the Bravo network, who want to address some other issues
Yeah.
that are going on over there.
Yeah, and it's gonna take time.
Yeah.
I feel like, I mean, this is quicker than a lot of other cases we've seen. This happened in 2018. I hate to compare it to the Me Too movement because these are both separate, powerful, necessary movements.
Yeah.
But there were people that incidents happened to them in the 80s and the 90s, and they were just being able to actually vocalize that and get the justice that they deserve.
For
So
sure.
it's definitely gonna take time. I just hope Bravo stays on top of this. And this isn't just an instance of, oh, we have to fire them or else people aren't going to watch our show. You get what I'm
Right.
saying? Of
Absolutely.
course, money is behind all of these. I don't want to accuse people of that because I would love for it to be, you know, them making moves off of their heart and their moral integrity. But
Right.
money makes the world go round. You
Right.
know, so they're making moves also to make sure they protect their business.
Right.
So I just hope that they actually stick with this. The new cast members, Max Boyens and Brett Caprioni, were also let go after racist tweets from their past recirculated.
ET actually caught up with Faith Stowers, who said it's not just Stassi or Kristen from Vanderpump Rules who should be held accountable. Take a look.
Faith, if I'm not mistaken, didn't Jack say that same thing? Didn't he publicly also say that you were wanted for Grand Theft Auto? I think I saw it on his Twitter that you were a wanted felon, that you had been drugging and robbing people.
He did. I didn't see it till later on because I was trying to stay far away from him as possible. But somebody sent it to me and I seen it. And
should he be fired too?
I think he's probably had more terrible things to say than these two young ladies. I've gotten emails and DMs from ladies from different shows. I believe one of them was a fiance show, a 90-Day Fiance show, where he attacked her husband, saying, you know, her husband, she's a white woman dating a black man, and she attacked her black husband,
yes.
his black features. He's said very, very mean things to new cast members. He did not receive me and Lala Kent very well when we first started. He said very mean things to us as well, later on apologizing. But it seems like he continues to get away with everything he does. And I'm not sure why, especially at his age. It's not like he's doing this as a young adult, as a kid, and just, you know, making these little mistakes young people sometimes do. He's a grown man and he's deciding this is a life he wants to live.
Do you think the show should be canceled?
No, I think the show is a great idea. I just think that maybe they could put people out there that could, you know, give a voice to people and be more relatable to people of non-color, something, because there's no people of color on that show. I think it needs to be revamped and it needs to be done right. Because, I mean, as we've seen now, there's two people on that show that also has racist tweets, racial backgrounds. And it just goes to show that they're just not being vetted correctly. I think they're just putting people on who have the look, who can make a really good show.